Nigeria wins landmark case against Shell. The Niger Delta, once a thriving ecosystem, has become a symbol of environmental devastation due to decades of relentless oil pollution. Now, a landmark UK High Court ruling has given hope to communities like Bille and Ogale, allowing them to pursue Shell for the ongoing damage caused by oil spills. This decision marks a turning point in the fight for environmental justice, as Shell can be held legally responsible for both historic and continuing pollution. The case demands a full cleanup, challenging how multinational corporations are held accountable for their actions abroad. The court has set a powerful precedent for environmental justice worldwide. Shell began drilling operations in Nigeria back in the 1950s, fundamentally transforming the nation's economy, but also leaving behind a difficult legacy of environmental harm. Decades and decades of oil spills have tragically poisoned the Niger Delta's rivers and its vital mangroves, with Shell often blaming sabotage for the damage, while local communities consistently point to neglected aging infrastructure as the primary cause. In Bille, the once thriving fishing industry has collapsed entirely, and in Ogale, precious farmland and essential drinking water sources are heavily contaminated. Despite the Niger Delta region's immense oil wealth, residents have sadly faced persistent poverty and devastating health crises, with very little effective recourse available in Nigerian courts. Frustrated by the lack of progress, communities turn to the UK legal system, seeking to hold Shell's powerful parent company directly accountable for its actions. This landmark legal strategy clearly signals a new era in the ongoing fight for true corporate responsibility and justice. In the heart of the Niger Delta, communities have long faced the devastating consequences of environmental damage. Over 13,000 residents from Bille and Ogale allege Shell's negligence has caused irreparable harm to their homes and livelihoods. They claim that decades of oil spills and operational failures have destroyed their environment and livelihoods, leaving behind a legacy of pollution and despair. The once thriving ecosystems are now struggling to survive. Seeking redress for the damages, they demand compensation and a court-ordered cleanup of the affected areas. They hope to restore their land to its former state. Shell, however, has contested these claims, arguing many claims were too old to be considered. Furthermore, Shell argued that only its Nigerian subsidiary was liable for any potential damages, attempting to distance itself from direct responsibility. The High Court, after careful consideration, rejected these defenses, marking a significant victory for the communities. The court ruled that ongoing pollution is a continuing nuisance, acknowledging the persistent harm inflicted upon the environment and the people. This ruling is critical, meaning the harm persists and the case can proceed, allowing the communities to seek justice for the long-term damage they have suffered. This opens the door for a full trial in 2027, offering a glimmer of hope for a resolution after years of struggle. At the trial, Shell's responsibility for the environmental devastation will be under intense scrutiny. The court will examine Shell's actions, or lack thereof, for both operational failures and the effectiveness of their cleanup efforts. The outcome could reshape how global corporations are held to account for environmental harm, setting a precedent for future cases worldwide. For the Niger Delta, a region scarred by decades of oil exploitation, it's a rare chance at justice, a beacon of hope that accountability can prevail. In Bille, oil pollution has decimated fish stocks and poisoned mangrove ecosystems, impacting livelihoods. This environmental catastrophe is destroying a way of life built on the water for generations. In Ogale, toxic pollution from oil spills has contaminated water wells and farmland. This contamination is causing serious health problems, particularly among children, deepening poverty. Families struggle to access clean water, nutritious food, and basic healthcare. Traditional livelihoods have been wiped out. Community leaders are demanding that Shell take responsibility for the environmental damage. Environmental groups are raising awareness about the devastating impact of oil pollution on the Niger Delta. For these communities, the stakes are their very survival and the future of their children. The UK court's decision is indeed a breakthrough, challenging the long-held idea that parent companies can avoid liability for environmental harm caused overseas. If Bille and Ogale ultimately win, Shell could face massive financial compensation payouts and be forced to fund a decades-long environmental cleanup. The case could potentially set a global precedent, warning corporations of the significant risks of environmental negligence. But the road ahead is still long. Proving Shell's direct responsibility will require extensive evidence gathering and unwavering determination. For the Niger Delta communities, this is a critical test of environmental justice and true corporate accountability. The world is indeed watching, as the final outcome could redefine the responsibilities of multinational companies everywhere. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to support our channel. What do you think is a fair penalty for Shell? Let us know in the comments below.